tape for potential case study site on US 19 in Orange County, in Citrus County, I'm sorry, just north of Crystal River, Florida. Video for test section 123811 on Interstate 10 just west of Tallahassee, Florida. We're in Gadsden County. This project was selected for experiment design cell 3-61. It's a jointed plain concrete, and right now what I'm going to do is to stop the tape and go on down where they're doing the coring operation. They're coring out the concrete pavement going through the soil cement base, and beneath that they'll be augering down into the subgrade. So I'm going to stop the tape now and walk on down to where they are so I can show what comes out of the hole. So the core which came out from the test hole just up ahead, the thickness of this was 9.5 inches. For a low thickness of Portland cement concrete, for a 9-inch as shown on the plans. It's 9.5 inches, puts it right up there on the boundary line between the high and the low category for concrete thickness for this particular experiment. Core of the soil cement, so we had to go in and break it up and then auger it out of it. What you see in the foreground here is it was the soil cement. It was the sand treated with cement, as is usually the case. 10.5 inches of soil cement base underneath the concrete, essentially. But again, what distinguishes this cell from any other one would be the type of material, whether or not it was bound. And indeed, this was bound with soil cement because they had to break it loose to get it out of there. The subgrade is indicated as being a clay gravel. It appears from what started to come out of the hole, though, that it's more of a sandy type material. But again, that doesn't change the cell classification. We got into a predominantly sand layer subbase or select material, 19 inches in thickness. Beneath that, we got into this reddish, not sure how to grade this as being a silty sand or what. It's somewhere in that gray area between fine and coarse, which may affect the selection of this project. I was speaking of just a moment ago. It's, I'll say it hits right on the borderline between being a fine and a coarse. It's non-plastic, it's not cohesive, but it would either be a silty sand or a sandy silt. It's reddish in color. As you can see, as I'm just working around in my hand, it's drifting on through. This is visible on the camera, but with the naked eye in the sunlight you can see the siliceous particles reflecting. I think this would probably be best characterized as predominantly a fine sand with some silt and clay mixed into it. At the beginning of the test section for 123811, which is Florida ID number 3050, as I mentioned several times, on Interstate 10 west of Tallahassee, Florida. We're working in the westbound lanes here. The first thing I want to show, and I'll try to sweep slowly over to it. You see these yellow marks? This is the very beginning of the project where we're at. And one reason that I wanted to grab this very first available section, which would be useful as a test section here, was because they do have some CPR planned on this for 1990 or 1991. And there is a considerable length of this project which is useful, or which may be useful, in the maintenance cost-effectiveness studies. Therefore, we wanted to get and allow us as much as we could. As you'll see as we go on through, there is quite a bit of distress through this pavement, and I'll document that as we go. We're in rolling country here in the Florida Panhandle. We're on a vertical curve here, but we're in a rather consistent, approximate 4-foot cut, if I remember correctly. Looking back upstream from the test section to the east, we should have quite adequate sight distance here to locate the test section. Clockwise direction, we have a divided highway here. We've got a